Welcome back to Spirit Speak series, where we're exploring ways to connect to spirit. I'm curious, after our first episode, if you've noticed any signs or if you're able to put your attention on your intention to become more aware so you could recognize the signs spirit is offering you. And as I mentioned before, the reason why I started this Spirit Speak series is because a big part of wellness is to know that we have support from others and that we are not alone. Through Spirit Speaks, we bring forward how we can also receive support on an energetic level. So we do not feel isolated or carry the burden that we have to go through challenging times in our lives alone. In our first episode, we had the pleasure of introducing Marcia and hearing about her journey as she started listening and being curious about her connection to spirit. She shared how she was able to strengthen her relationship by trusting in her abilities. And through her experiences, she placed her attention on her intention of what she wanted to do with this gift and left a conventional job and is now being of service to others by offering guidance for those who are seeking more in life and connecting to past loved ones. So for my next guest, we have Liz, who lives in the beautiful Rosendale Valley of the UK with her family. Liz is deeply intuitive, being guided since childhood, using her psychic and channeling abilities. She's able to connect with spirit on many levels. Liz also holds a strong connection to the angelic realm through her training as a master teacher practitioner of angelic Reiki. And you know, I'm all about Reiki. And I met Liz through a friend. And even though she lives in a different country way across the pond, there was a strong connection, and there still is. In my future, I really hope to see Liz in person and explore more with her. Although through my virtual sessions, Liz, we've worked for the past 2 years, and it's been nothing short of phenomenal, actually evoking a deeper awareness, which is a blend working with a soul counseling session. So that was with oracle card reading and channeled guidance. And that experience really put a lot into perspective for me, myself, and my own journey, both on the inside and out. And that's actually why I invited Liz to share about her journey with spirit, how spirit helps her, and how she's able to offer support for those who are interested in exploring different modalities and help really fit some missing pieces together. And that's what she does so beautifully. So without further ado, I welcome Liz. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, April. It's wonderful to be here, and it's wonderful to speak to you and have this blessed technology to be able to speak to you all the way from England over to America. So that's such a great privilege. Thank you.
Yes, you're my first international guest. It's like I feel like you're a celebrity or something being here with us. It's so wonderful. For those who aren't familiar with you, can you just give us a little background of your story and how you built your relationship with spirit?
Well, as a child, I always knew that I wasn't living in the same world as the other children and the other adults. I always had a sense that I was living in some kind of holographic playground.
Mhm.
Um, I always saw synchronicities and numbers and numerology. But obviously, as a young child, I wasn't able to put that into words as such, or in my conscious awareness. But I always knew there was something going on. And I have been clairaudient. I would hear guidance and intuit guidance as long as I can remember. I'm also very telepathic. So as I'm having a conversation with other children, I can hear what's actually going on inside their heads
Oh, yeah.
as opposed to the words that they were saying. My clairvoyance was developing, so I could see auras around my playmates. Which again gives you another level of
Mhm.
communication beyond the spoken word. So all those kind of intuitive gifts and abilities were there. But it's only with age and growing and maturity that I understood uh, really how to use those gifts. There was a time as a teenager when those gifts were suppressed as well,
Mhm.
because we're often taught to ignore what we see in the subtle realms or what we feel from the subtle realms. Does that give you an insight into where
Oh, yeah.
things really started for me?
Yes. And also, I really like how you brought up that, society tells us how we should be. And when we share these things, especially as children, they have imaginary playmates or they see colors or, they're coloring pictures and there's more in that picture than what they're actually seeing. And then, there's that judgment. And so that kind of shuts that down. So I really understand what you're saying with that. I too had some things in my childhood where people would question or they would make fun of me. And then I decided, well, that felt really bad because I felt that. And so I too shut it down. So I'm curious of how, for those that are listening, I'm sure everybody's experienced something to that effect. Like, what did you do to kind of open that or invite that back into your life?
Well, by the time I was about 17, I was going through the usual traumas of college and also a changing body and changing feelings in relationships. So all those challenges that we all experience. And I couldn't handle it really, especially with that added layer of extra sensitivity as a
Mhm.
sensitive person. So I began to feel quite depressed and dark, and I didn't want to meet friends. I didn't want to go anywhere. I had no interests. I kind of isolated myself. And something inside me just knew that wasn't the way forward. It wasn't healthy for me. Uh, I didn't feel I could trust a doctor or go the medical route for curing depression and things like that. That didn't draw me at all. So I remember going to the library. I went to the local library and I looked across the self-help shelf, and certain books just kind of pinged at me and said, take me home, take me home. So I'm there, this 17-year-old girl with a pile of books, trying to carry them to the library and say, I'll take these, please. And I took all these books home, and some were about meditation, some were breath work, some were things like self-esteem and those kind of titles that you can find. And I absorbed what I needed from each book and kind of created my own well-being program. And the part of that well-being was meditation. That was a really strong foundation for my switching back on and radiating out back into the world. And the meditation, when I first tuned in, I was immediately aware of presences around me. There's kind of a team of spirits around me, and my angelic guardian angel, she was stood next to me, and she said, "My name is Helen Smith. Look it up." So I didn't really know what that meant, but I thought, okay, it's names. It's look up the
Yes.
meaning of names. So Helen means light. And a smith is like a blacksmith or a goldsmith. They create, they're workers, and they craft. So this introduced me to light crafting or light working.
Oh, yes.
And once I'd discovered those two words, I was able to learn more about it and research more. And then it really started to open up for me, because I could understand what my purpose was as a light worker.
Yes, I think you have a really good point right there, that we figure out the purpose, our purpose. We're not as lost. We have a foundation to build from. And so, yes, please tell us how your depression shifted then. How did that transmute?
Well, it only took me 13 years to to climb out of it. Depression, of course, is something that we're all susceptible to, and I don't believe you cure depression. I believe you find a way to manage it. So it's not as if it's something that can be left behind. We just learn methods and mechanisms to manage the depression. So I learned through those 13 years with the help of Spirit to manage my depression, and also that takes you into brain waves and geopathic stress, how energy in a home affects the mind, the mind, body, spirit, emotional effects, hormones. Gosh, it's a big subject, isn't it?
Sure is. And we're all that energy.
Yeah.
And I love how you said it. You just learned how to manage it. You learn how to understand what's happening. And I call it navigating your own internal landscape, right? Because we have hills, we have little valleys, we have mountains, and then we have big canyons, and it's just finding a way to find traction to navigate through that. And I think it's so important for people to hear, just as what you said, it's learning that process. It's not pushing it away. It's still part of us. So just understanding more about that. Yeah, that within you. Oh, that's good.
And why I say 13 years, because when I got to age 30, I'm a musician and vocal coach, singing teacher, as well as other light working gifts that I share. But one of my young singing pupils, she was only about 7 years old, and it was my 30th birthday coming up. And she brought in a tiny little, we call it £1 or $1 little bag of crystals from a little crystal shop. I'm sure you know the kind of thing.
Yes.
And she brought it and she said, Gabrielle told me I have to give you this. And I said, oh, okay, who's Gabrielle? And she said, the angel Gabrielle. Don't you know Angel Gabrielle? Obviously. I said, oh. And of course, I know Gabrielle as Gabriel. So
yes.
Angel Gabriel. So Gabriel had brought this little activation kit, this little crystal kit for me. And from meditating and holding these little crystals, tiny little crystals, and working with those, they kind of, I want to say, it's almost like an electrical activation in a way with holding these crystals. The crystals knew more about it than I did, that's for sure. They worked on me, and as I'm telling you, it's almost like when people put a defibrillator on someone and just activate the heart to restart the heart. And that's very much what these crystals were doing. They were working on my chakra system. And I really felt it wasn't one instant awakening, but over time, enjoying these crystals, I really began to feel shifts and changes. And that encouraged me to seek counseling. I started seeing a counselor, and that was very transformative. And I suppose one of the big situations was I had a visitation from Archangel Michael. And I didn't know it was Archangel Michael at the time, but I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw a silver white snowflake, I would say, or mandala, a geometry, like you see in a kaleidoscope. So I saw this light on the ceiling over my bed, and this extremely booming voice said to me, "Hello, Elizabeth, you are beautiful." And I learned later that beautiful is not how we talk about beautiful. We tend to talk about beauty in a physical, face-to-face way. But when the angels are talking to you and saying you are beautiful, you are in service to the world. When you are making the world a better place and offering to share your gifts to raise up consciousness and to brighten people's day, that is beauty in the eyes of the angels. And this is what he was saying to me, you know, you are here in service, and we can see you're offering that service to the world and humanity. And then the voice said, you are a transmuter, you are a liquid crystal, you will live in symbiosis and synergy. I had not a clue, April, not a clue.
I only know a little bit of that. So even, you know, it's like even diving deeper a little bit, but that's wonderful that Archangel Michael gave you those clues or connected you with more on this realm. So that way you could understand more about these gifts and how your beingness is in this plane. Yeah.
So it was very similar to how Angel Helen Smith had said to me, go find out, go look it up. So I went to find out about transmuting, being a liquid crystal, symbiosis, and synergy. And it only took me 7 years to figure it out. So what I'm sharing with you and your audience is really that these things rarely happen overnight. We're all praying, praying for that lightning revelation epiphany, and it's never really like that. You know, our journeys are long and winding. I love, as you say, navigating through your internal landscape. Yeah, it can be a twisting and turning journey with spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you lose your compass and you're like, where the heck am I? So yes, it is the journey. And that's that old saying, right? It's not the destination, it's the journey. And witnessing that we are human, that, you know, we're going to have up days, we're going to have some low days, you know, just being able to accept ourselves And when we're in that acceptance, I feel, I don't know about you, Liz, when we're accepting and we're just witnessing how we are, and then the gratitude comes in, and then with that gratitude, that helps open our hearts, and then that's easier to raise our vibration as your beauty, right, is radiating. We are the ripple effect, right? And so that's how spirit's able to connect with us easier. And let me tell you, some days it's like, wow, I am spot on. This is amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing all these signs. And then other days it's like, huh, I guess I need to get myself right, because I can feel it. I can feel the difference.
But those days are a blessing, because it's just reminding you to as I'm talking to you now, I'm seeing the caduceus, the intertwining of the two paths, I suppose. But in a way, it's like the energy from the divine is coming in and intertwining with us there. But that process of merging with spirit, well, on days when we don't feel that connection, it's
Mm,
just a reminder to come back into our practices,
yes.
meditation, breathing. Often it's just a matter of resting and just coming
Mhm.
back into stillness, and then we can feel that connection building up again. Yeah. It
Yes.
never really goes away. So
Oh,
spirit is saying to me right now, we're always connected to you. It's just sometimes the human is, on a busy track, or in kind of a busy world. But that
yes.
connection is always right there to come back into alignment with,
Mhm.
as my hands come together like that. Yeah.
Yes, for those who are watching on YouTube can see that video. Otherwise, Liz was showing her hands coming together. That is spirit and us together, and spirit's always here. It's us being distracted, and I just want to say, like squirrel, we're over here, we're over there, we're thinking about things in the future, we're obsessed about things that happened in the past, even, and that takes us out of that in sync. um, Although we can ask for guidance, ask and you shall receive. That's what pops into my head a lot when I'm literally having a conversation with myself, which I think a lot of people do, of why this, or, things that have come up. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, ask and you shall receive. And so then I pause and in more of an open curiosity of, okay, I'm curious, and I'm finding a centered place within myself. And then that's when I'm able to really connect. It just kind of streamlines it. It really allows to be present and witness whatever shows up. And also, I want to say, not having expectations of how it shows up or what it looks like, because spirit's going to come through the way it can to connect with you in that moment. Can you unpack that a little bit for us, Liz, about the expectations and wanting to see it a certain way? And
Well, I do know from my experience that lots of people get very frustrated that they are not clairvoyant. They really want to see more energy. And lots of people get very frustrated that gift might not be awakened in them. But there are other gifts that everybody has. We all have those gifts, and we all have a way of connecting into spirit. And really, it's a matter of finding what your gift is.
mm,
And very often people forget the clairsentience, which is feelings. It's
mm,
just a an extension, if you like, just a little bit broader from your own feelings, your own feelings and intuition that we have. Everybody has hunches, nudges, a sense of
Oh,
something.
yes.
We all have that. You know, sometimes you're in company and you just feel so right and relaxed and flowing and comfortable with someone. But then you might go in a building or something and you really feel very uncomfortable in a certain room. So those are your immediate clairsentient feelings, those intuitions and senses about a place. So trust those intuitions, trust your feelings. And the more you trust those feelings, the more it's like turning up the volume on your sensor dial. So the more you trust your feelings, the more information you will get from the energetic field around you and from the subtle realms. So very often, clairsentience is a way in to developing your connection to spirit. And so trust is super important. Just trust your own
Oh, yeah.
intuition. And try not to overthink and over question your feelings, your gut instincts and your feelings about things. And as you develop your clairsentience, then very often something called claircognizance comes on, which is knowing. That's when you say, I just know I need to go see grandma today. I just know it. You know, you just have this sense that comes over, which is a knowing. And then as you trust that, I go to see grandma and all her electricity was out, you know, so grandma needed looking after today, especially. And she couldn't phone us to tell us because all her electricity was out. So it's those kind of things of just trusting your claircognizance, your knowings.
Yes.
And you find each sense will develop and broaden, and then spirit has more ways of connecting with you as you open up. It's almost like being a radio. So the more you open up to different frequencies on the radio dial, then the more opportunity spirit has to connect with you. Does that help to
Oh, most
open up
definitely.
yeah?
Yes. And because we're all energy, and our, we look at the material as solid things, and it's not. So quantum physics has shown that, and more and more is coming forward about energy and thoughts and your emotions and things of that nature. And that's what, as you said, clairsentience, being in that space and being aware of what's happening. I think that's the key, is also knowing. I find that when you're in that space, and it's more empowering, because you can say, as you walk in that room and that person is negative vibes, you don't have to absorb their stuff. Did you hear me, everyone? Right now, listen, it's not your responsibility to take on other people's feelings or their emotional state. We don't have to fix them. Now, if it's a small child and they're hurt and things, yes, of course, the nurturing and things. But there's adults walking around and they're still 2-year-olds, right? So just being aware of other people's energy and just knowing, okay, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm supported, and they need to figure that out for themselves. Having that boundary, I think it's really empowering to understand that we have our own containers, we have our own energy, and what are you going to do with that? How are you going to live your best life and learn to expand and connect with other people with your own the word I'm looking for, being very, not vigilant, but, just,
Aware.
yeah, and fine tuning. And the more you do that, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. At first, yeah, it's a little wonky, right? We're like, took the training wheels off the bike, right? We're kind of wobbling a little bit here. I love how I get little images like that in my mind, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, I'm more confident, right? I can do this. So yeah, we're all energy, and that's how we are also in the world as well, and how we can receive that support from spirit, because it is us and we are them. There's no separation. Yeah.
I'm being nudged by spirit to come back to transmuter and liquid crystal, symbiosis and synergy as well, for anyone watching and listening who might be interested in those things. And it touches on exactly what you're talking about as well, about how we
Perfect. Yeah,
interact.
let's explore that, Liz. Yes.
So transmuter is an ingredient in an alchemical reaction. If you've heard of alchemy, where it's a kind of, I think it was very popular in the medieval times, where people were trying to turn base metals into gold. And you can imagine somebody like John Dee or Nostradamus, these alchemists in their laboratories, and they were trying to find the philosopher's stone, which is this magical ingredient which changes these lower metals into gold. I don't think they were very successful at doing that, the magical transformation, but it's kind of a metaphor for our spiritual evolution. And the transmuter is the catalyst, or that ingredient that speeds up the change
Mm.
and the transformation. And that's how I've been able to use my gifts. I can help people to speed up their transformation. I can be that catalyst
Yes,
because
you are. With the readings I've had. Yes.
so that's essentially what the transmuter is, that kind of missing ingredient. We all have that on our journey, that we feel we're here on our spiritual journey and we want to be there in another part
Mhm.
of the spiritual landscape. But how we get from here to there is, it's a mystery, and it's a big, it's a bridge, an invisible bridge. And that's my gift, to be able to tune in and find that. I call it the transformational bridge. So it's guidance of how to get from where you are on your spiritual journey to where you really want to be. And that can come in many forms. It can be meditation, it can be channeled guidance, angelic guidance. I speak to the fairies. Some people are very connected to fairies. So I can do a session with someone and the fairies just jump in straight away. They really want to, they're up against the screen. We want to tell you this, we really want to tell and share this guidance with our friend, on the other side of the screen there. So that ability to hear fairies, or bring them into a space where they can share their message, it is one example of how this catalyzing or accelerating of the
Mm.
spiritual journey can happen. And it's different for everybody. Some people are really attracted to the angelics. Some people connect to galactic beings.
Mm.
Some people are connected and tuned into ascended masters or fairies. There's a whole, literally lots of different dimensions that are really there waiting to just come through and share that guidance for people. So that's how my transmuting talent works. And the part about being a liquid crystal, we as human beings are ascending and evolving. We're changing frequency and moving up to being more like crystalline energy. So crystals are very much aligned. If you look at a crystal under a magnifying glass, they have these very powerful grids inside them. And they're very much aligned, and this is a way of connecting into the higher dimensions and the spiritual realms. And so I have those kind of aligned energy grids within me, and that but I'm liquid as well. I'm a flesh and blood being. so it's coming through to me to say, in the old-fashioned radios we used to have crystals.
Yes.
You remember, and they were part of the system that helps to attune radio frequencies, and I'm being guided as I'm talking to you that on the International Space Station and in spaceships they use quartz crystals. Sports watches, they use quartz crystals. So this crystalline alignment is part of the system that allows me to tune in to spirit and to other realms, other dimensions. Now I have to admit, I don't understand how that works. My higher self, my angels must understand that, and they know how to use it. All I have to do, I don't have to understand that. I simply have to manage it and keep myself in alignment, keep the connection going.
Yes.
And we can all do that. That's what you were speaking about before.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, that we don't have to know exactly how, because then the mind gets in the way and then it tries to talk you out of whatever it is, because our mind cannot fathom. This is something outside the human brain, the human mind. And so again, as I always ask everyone here, just to be open and curious about different modalities, about different techniques, and learning something new. And some of this might resonate with you and some of it might not right now. But you could always come back and listen in the future, and something else might pick up, because it's the frequency, it's where you're at. So not having to know is sometimes the best way.
It's a great blessing. Yes. And everyone can be this liquid crystal. So it's all about just aligning. What's coming in to say is, it's just aligning to your own personal true north, your own truth.
Yes.
Once you're aligned to your own, what resonates for you, your own frequency, your own authenticity. Once you're feeling attuned and in line, then you are that liquid crystal. You are, resonating and vibing.
Yes.
You're on track.
Yeah. Yes. And I want to also remind everyone that everybody's different, as Liz just said, and everybody has their own gifts, their own talents. So don't be distracted by somebody else doing this other magical, wonderful thing over here. And then we compare ourselves. Oh, well, I'm not like that person, so I can't be a liquid crystal. What is Liz talking about? That type of thing. The mind wants to compare. It wants to judge us. That type of thing. Instead, just be curious of what attracts you to that person, how you're feeling when you're in the presence of that person, or when you're reading about something curious or interesting. That feeling is a vibration too. So it's bringing you also into alignment. So really focusing on just being open and curious, and just wonder, I wonder what that would feel like. I wonder what Liz is getting on about that. And just trust. Yeah, trust in the process. Liz, do you happen to have some cards maybe that you would like to?
I do.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
so
This is my favorite part, by the way, people. So,
this is a new deck. That's
oh,
I'm very much tuning into the unicorns at the moment. The unicorns are really coming forward to help, to reassure, bring hope and peace and those higher vibrations of love and compassion. They're really, I can see them galloping. They're really galloping into the earth realm. From spirit to support everyone. And just as you have your own guardian angel, you'll have a guardian unicorn. And the unicorns grow with us as we grow. So when you come in, you'll have a very small, teeny unicorn with you. And the unicorns grow as we grow into adults as well. So that's a beautiful relationship that you can develop with the unicorns. So this is a new deck that I've just
and the deck,
invested in.
for those that are just listening and they're not seeing a video, what's the name of the deck?
It's called the Oracle of the Unicorns. Enter an enchanted realm of magic and miracles. And it's by Cordelia Francesca Braba. Yeah, fabulous. She does a lot of Oracle card decks.
Wonderful.
So we'll do a reading here.
We'll see what the unicorns have to offer guidance for us.
What the unicorns want to say.
And while you're doing that, Liz, I just want to tell everyone else that when you do work with Liz, she has many decks and she'll send you a picture of all these different decks. And then you choose, right? It's whatever's speaking to you at that moment. You choose which deck you would like to work with. So she has goddesses, she has working with the angels, fairies. I mean, anything you can imagine, she has it. So if unicorns aren't your thing right now, just listen to the message instead of thinking of a unicorn sitting there talking to you. Focus on the message that's coming through right now.
Okay, I'm going to, would you like to just see a couple of the other decks just as an example? We've got the Fairy Oracle, which is a beautiful deck,
yes.
The Wild Wisdom of the Fairies. We have the Archangel Fire Oracle. That's an amazing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes.
The archangels, and there are goddesses and light keepers. So there's some really beautiful decks.
Actually, those two decks were the two that I worked with. So it doesn't surprise me that you raised those up. Yes.
So and the question I'm asking is from the Oracle deck, is for some guidance for everybody who's tuning in, to support us in how do we align this conversation we just had about being a liquid crystal, or aligning yourself to your true vibration, your true authenticity. So I'm just asking for guidance on that, because as you say, the words liquid crystal, I mean, it didn't mean much to me for a long time, for many years. So we'll ask more about how do we align ourselves and tune in to spirit and find out some guidance on that. Okay, here we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Liz.
So we have the first card. There we go. That's receive.
Ah.
Yeah.
So it shows a woman. There's a woman standing next to a unicorn, and she's holding like a purple orb. it
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah. So the 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 words there, it says receive. So the question we were asking about is, how do we get into alignment? How do we get attuned to
Mm-hmm.
the spirit realm? And the first thing we have to do is receive. Be open to receiving, because so often we can convince ourselves that we're either not worthy of, the angels talking to us, or we feel that maybe there are much bigger problems in the world. Why would the angels come and talk to me about my issues and my questions? There's all sorts of kind of doubts and questions in your own mind. So the first thing you have to be willing to do is to receive guidance. And it says, be open to receiving goodness, believe you are worthy of abundance. A gift is coming to you soon. Um,
Oh,
so this young woman here, she's obviously received this, it looks like an amethyst crystal ball almost, or a crystal
yes.
orb there. Also, she's holding it in the left hand there. Energetically, our left hand is the receiving side.
Yes.
So it's being open and relaxed, and being willing to receive. I will go on to the next cards, and if we have time, I'll read into the guidebook a little bit more about these cards. So the next card about how do we get into alignment, this card there,
Ooh.
is friendship. And I'm chuckling to myself now, because the first thing
Squirrel.
you said was squirrel. You said, and there's that squirrel trying to whisper in the unicorn's ear, I've got something to tell you. I'm distracting you. The little
Yes.
squirrel. And that unicorn is just looking straight ahead, pointing, to true north, to its own purpose and its own determination there. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't let that little squirrel distract you there.
Yeah.
But it's also about our friendships. So seek out your soul family, surround yourself with positive people, and spend more time socializing. So I guess that's all about finding a supportive group around you.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be really challenging if you are having this connection with the angels, for example, and people in your family are saying, what what's she
Yeah.
talking about? If your family and friends are not really on the same path as you, that can be really challenging, being on your own and being that
Mm.
lone ranger, as it comes into my mind there, to say, just being that one who's moving forward to receive spirit. That can be a very lonely journey.
Mm.
And you also, if you're doing it alone, you can have a lot of doubts and questions in your mind.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas if you find a group of people who are, we're all on our own journeys, but some of us are heading in a definite direction.
Mm-hmm.
We're heading in a brighter direction, and a more aligned direction. And
Yes.
if you can find others who are going the same way as you, then the journey is much quicker, and
And
much
it's
more
more fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yes. Because you have that community of people to support and that you can speak freely without feeling judged. I think that's the big thing. And then the trust and all of that. So yes. And that squirrel also reminds me of like, that's the mind, right?
Yeah.
That's the little mind that's distracting us and look at that, look at this. Oh, you don't have time for that. You got to go do this, that kind of thing. So that was perfect, Liz. I love it. What else you
Um,
have for us?
uh, And just a little bit more on the friendship card as well. The angels and the fairies and your spirit guides are coming through to form friendships with you. So it's all the things that you have to do in relationships to build a relationship. So if you have a friend, you know, over in California and you never ever phone them, you never email them, you never contact them, that friendship is going to dissolve. It won't sustain. So it's the same with spirit. You have to keep tuning in every morning, every day. Make that phone call from the heart, you know. Hi spirit, hi angels. if you see something beautiful, that little message of gratitude.
Yes.
Wow, how blessed am I that I've seen that today. If you do get some guidance, thank you so much for that. You know, I get that guidance. I
Oh,
understand.
yes. Yes, acknowledging it
Yeah, yeah.
is and that way spirit, you know, you're building that connection and having that gratitude, your heart's more open and really resonates and becomes part of you. That's my experience. Yeah.
So building friendships in the human realm and friendships in the spirit realm as well. And
Yes.
the last one, wow, what a card. I love it. Look at that. Support.
Oh, it's more like a Pegasus.
It is, yeah. And how cozy is that rider there, just nuzzling into the support,
Yeah,
you know?
it's a woman
What
lying on the back of the Pegasus, and Pegasus is flying with his wings out, and she's just, yeah, it looks very comforting, very supportive.
she's just relaxed and she's trusting and relaxing in the wings of this Pegasus being there. But it says support, and there's what you were saying, April. Ask, ask for help.
Yes.
Get more rest. I mentioned that as well, didn't I?
Mhm.
Just make sure that we're not doing too much squirrel chasing. You know, make sure we get some rest and some stillness. That's very important for our connection to spirit. And nurture yourself. Yeah, some self-care and self-love. Also, self-belief is incredibly
Mm,
important. So believing that you are supported on this journey as you're growing with spirit as well. Yeah, so we've got be willing to receive,
mhm.
make friendships with the people who are on the same path as you, and build up friendships with your spirit guides as well. And I'm also being reminded to be a friend of the natural world.
Yeah.
So just going into the garden or walking in the park, you know, looking at the trees, the flowers, the sun, the planets,
Mhm.
even just building up friendships with the whole universe is so empowering.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought
And
that up because a lot of people that I've worked with, they say, I I don't I don't know who my spirit guides are. I'm trying, I've meditated, I've done all these things, yet nothing has revealed itself to me. And I tell them just to relax, that you know you are part of that, and it may come to you in the future, and it might not. It just depends on how you are in this world. This is my thoughts. What are your thoughts about that, about people wanting to see spirit guides or wanting to feel that connection to that, but they feel that there's a disconnect still?
it's touching on what we were speaking about before, where lots of people wish they were clairvoyant and had
Mhm.
kind of visions of angels or beings, spirit guides. And I think that's something that we've been taught to believe by films.
Mm.
And you know, like the blue fairy appears to Pinocchio and things like that. So we kind of almost been indoctrinated to feeling that's the only official way that that spirit can come through. But spirit can, we are, there's no separation between us and spirit. We're all one consciousness. So there are infinite ways that spirit can communicate to us. You could be just sitting listening to a beautiful piece of music, an incredibly beautiful piece of music, and it just touches your heart. And it lifts you up, takes you out of your everyday problems and situations, and you just feel this upliftment and connection. And in those moments of joy, where you're experiencing that, those are the moments where you really are opening up and tuning in to the spirit realm. And that creates a whole change within the physical body, within the mind. You're if someone was monitoring your brain waves, there would be a shift in the brain waves. Your heart rhythms will change when you're in that uplifted state. So you really are lifting your vibration at that point. And that might be your connection, that so that we're back to clairsentience, aren't we? Feeling that infinity feeling is what's coming to mind. Just feeling that expanded feeling, and that could be your angel moment. So that's your moment of connection, and you can go away from that and reflect on that feeling. And more answers will come. Ask for help once you've been in that state. Ask the questions that you need, ask the guidance, and it will come to you. It might take a day or two, who knows, but the answers will come, and the answers come in many different ways. You just have to be willing to receive it, believe it when it comes. Sometimes I will see a name 3 or 4 times in one day. I'll see someone's name in a newspaper, on television, on the radio, or I might just think of someone, and it's saying to me, make a connection with that person, phone that person, get in touch. It's important that you connect. Or I might open a magazine and it's an article about a herb, let's say milk thistle. It's a remedy, milk thistle remedy. And maybe you've been tired or feeling a little bit under the weather, and you open the book, you open a magazine, and there's this advert for milk thistle, buy milk thistle, and it's like, and then you turn the TV on, milk thistle, da, 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 or you see a thistle with a bottle of milk, so the universe will tell you, these things, that the answers that you're looking for. It's just being open to the infinite ways that guidance can come in.
Yes, it's so important to be open. And I love those 3 cards. So can you say them again? It was receive.
To become in alignment and to tune into your spirit guides. It's beneficial to receive, be willing to receive those
that
messages.
You're worthy too. You mentioned worthiness.
Yes, I'll read that again. It says, be open to receiving goodness. Believe you are worthy of abundance. A gift is coming to you soon. And then treasure your friendships. Create your friendship. Don't be distracted by squirrels. And in England, we call them naysayers, people who say, oh no, that can't be right. Ignore those who are on a different path from you. Let them go their own way, and you You trust your instincts of the direction you're going in, and find friends who are going in the same direction as you. And
Yes.
then make friends with spirit, with the natural world as well. Nature is such an amazing way. It's a great connector to the all that is, to the universe. So just being in nature is a fabulous, I'm trying to think of the word, but it's a connector, the link. Nature is the link for
Yes.
humanity to the spirit world. So seek out your soul family, surround yourself with positive people, and spend more time socializing. And it's talking, yeah. Your spiritual journey doesn't have to be all about serious practice and meditation.
No, you can't.
And
You got to invite in some playfulness and have
yeah,
fun,
yeah,
because that's
yeah,
where you're working from your heart instead of being so serious in the mind,
yeah,
and the head of it has to look a certain way.
yeah. And movement is incredibly
Mhm.
important to align with spirit. So walking, dancing, swimming,
Oh,
all
yes.
those things that you can do is really important. And the final card was this beautiful one. This is support. Yeah, relax. In the Western world, and especially women, we're kind of indoctrinated that we have to work hard to achieve or something. There's this kind of
Yes.
drive, and trying and driving will actually block out the alignment to spirit.
Mhm.
All that striving is so heavy, and kind of it's a
Yes.
forced energy.
Mhm.
So by letting go of that, as this picture of this woman is, she's really just resting and sinking into the Pegasus wings there. It's like the angel wings. She's just giving up and surrendering,
Mhm.
just let go of all that striving in all
Yes.
areas of your life, really. And you'll feel the support of spirit just lifting you up. Uh,
Oh,
and
yes.
and ask, it says, ask for help, you will receive, get more rest. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Remember to nurture yourself, self-nurture. Yeah, so all those, that's a great guide for us all about
Yes.
how to connect with spirit.
That was perfect, Liz. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for being here with us. And as anyone listens or views this video, you'll still receive those messages and that support. The energy is here. This is about, as you say, you're the liquid light crystal. I call it like the collective consciousness, right? That's what we're doing. We're expanding the collective consciousness here. And after you listen to this, then you'll be more open to receive more for yourself as you're building that relationship to spirit and to you as well. Yeah. So, Liz, those who are wanting to get in touch with you, what is your contact information so they can explore more with you?
Thank you. So my email address is probably the best way to get in touch with me. That's all small letters, and it's Liz, Liz, dot Baker, Baker, dot oneness, ONENESS, at btinternet.com. So that
Okay.
is my email, and I'm on Facebook as well. So if you look for Liz Baker, England, I presume you might need to look for Liz Baker. But if you email me, then we can get in touch and connect.
Wonderful. I'll make sure that that is on the video and also on the link for the podcast so they can get in touch with you that way. Well, my friend, it has truly been just Just a treasured moment being with you and receiving all this guidance and support as, you know, Spirit speaks through you, and you're able to support others as well. So thank you again for being here. Really appreciate your time. And all those that are listening, stay tuned for our third episode of Spirit Speaks, where I'm going to invite Jamie Collins. And she is also a psychic medium. And she will offer support of connecting with loved ones, and also more on the medical end too, about physical health. So be well, my friends. Until then, take good care. Bye.
Thank you, April. Bye.